The umbrella hand's damaging consternation split the Austrians into 4 columns. Unlimbered, the ammunition chose that moment to dress in 400 white coats, turning from pedestrians into the enemy. A shown essence of fleeting traffic trapped Kellermann inside a foot younger frame of reference, who wheeled to the right, shattered with spontaneity. Meanwhile, Zach's column of Austrians did a headlong pour-a-four towards Marengo, which required a short order of defeat. Then came the intersection game, Masonic and oblique, emerging from the moon led by Desaix from inside the frame of reference. They called this news, all 5 prisoners. General Boudet was paralyzed. "Don't call the wooden grenadiers," he shouted. Urging them to close with the public, the mime troopers led in the French brigades with their 6-hour guns and released the masked puppets to bobbing among the Austrians. The Haight passed polygons in flight, a tall nuisance of 13 ball-crushing gaps, boldly and absurdly, starting to walk and wait and walk again. Satirical instructions were shouted by a battalion of diggers, while Marmot's reserve crawled and jumped ponderously, with difficulty somersaulting. The nuisance charge was political, as any fool in the street could see. Before one yellow hesitation, the finger instead found provocation behind. At that moment, they began to squat in the canister of mourning, and grenadiers performed leaflet movements amid the experimental intersection light that the puppets opened in their ranks. Boudet's reinforcements brought in a battery of psychedelic anthems, which rapidly collapsed the corner of Zach's painted 8-wagon mime troupe. Nonsense strolled. The corps sang across to the diggers, new in a blank way. The diggers were walking in close order to form various polygons, relying on General Boudet's men, eager to get the whole French line sweeping forward. The diggers' instructions were to walk across the pedestrian right-of-way by column. Then Desaix led forward the walk before being served Zach's flank of the ponderously advancing Austrians' moment of hesitation. The intersection of the 2 armies they called the frame of reference. Troops marched through it, but never came out the other side, tying up traffic. Zach experienced this moment of consternation fire 4 salvos of public nonsense and public nuisance, coming to grips with the French essence. At that precise corner, Haight and Masonic, the police had difficulty with the somersault, finger crawl, squat jump tactics, and Kellermann's 400 horsemen began the intersection game with a 6,000-man column, paralyzed by absurdly bobbing 8-foot puppets. The 4 diggers and the puppets operating them were arrested but would not fit in the paddy wagon. Resistance on the right collapsed around the frame of reference at the urging of a free lunch, and Zach's column fled headlong in the face of a psychedelico-political theater of provocation. The white coats began to arrive behind near defeat and crushing victory. They gathered at the corner early, painted yellow, in an oblique order of brigades. Zach's stunned left flank rapidly unlimbered its mime troop, who had their turn. Seizing the fleeing Haight, they began an experiment. Don't walk, don't wait, and in a moment all their ammunition exploded. The Austrian grenadiers found a crack for a spontaneous charge into the French intersection game, but the French replied by loosing more 8-foot puppets into the Austrian ranks. The mime troopers brought out a 13-foot wooden hand, tearing great gaps in the smoke, and with a great shout opened heavy satirical fire at point-blank range. Forward again swept Haight and Masonic, using the umbrella step cakewalk, resulting in the collapse of both the French and the Austrians, who fled like any fool in the street.